What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we do upload PvP content every single day. So if you are into that type of content, please consider subscribing. Today we're going to be looking at a team that is extremely bulky. I call it the triple tank team. 3 bulky Pokemon consisting of Azumarill, Umbreon, and Registeel. Now this team is very weak to Toxicroak and Meganium. Do not want to see those. In this first matchup here, we are going up against the Vigoroth. This is a pretty good situation for us because our Azumarill will resist those counters from the Vigoroth. Opponent switches into their own Azumarill. I'm okay with this because we have Play Rough. As you can see here, we're lagging. We got the double spin of death, and we get the weak connection sign. You know what that means. The Play Rough is not going to do any damage. We're not getting any bubble damage in, and what turned into an amazing situation for us has instantly turned into a disaster. So this opposing Azumarill is also running Play Rough, so not good for us. And because we didn't get that first damage on the Play Rough, we're actually in a really bad situation here where we're going to end up losing switch advantage. And it's very unfortunate because of the lag. But what makes this even worse is the fact that we're going to lose switch advantage, and he has a Vigoroth, which is going to perform well against both Umbreon and Registeel. So at this point, you could imagine the rage I'm exhibiting in person here. I was just like, oh, here we go again. Classic Niantic. So out of desperation, I'm trying to burn both shields here. I want to maintain switch advantage. So I'm just hoping he lets this go through because I don't want that Vigoroth going up against my Pokemon. Now, he does let it go through. However, this is pretty bad for us because he didn't use his shield. He's going to end up defeating us here. So he wins switch advantage, maintains the shield advantage, and he has that Vigoroth in the back. So horrible for us. We're facing a bit more lag here. I have to use this charge move to get rid of the Azumarill. But I get lucky here because he wastes his energy on the Azumarill. So instantly I switch into the Registeel knowing that I have to be able to get to that flash cannon if the Vigoroth comes back in because that's my only chance of winning. So I leave early to farm up some energy, and I switch lock myself here, but he brings in the Hypno instead, which I'm okay with because most Hypnos aren't running Focus Blast anyways. So in this case, he's throwing Thunder Punches at me, so Registeel's going to take those fine. Shields are down now, so these Flash Cannons are going to be doing a lot of damage to the Hypno. And what I want to do here is be able to get this Focus Blast off before the Vigoroth can, and I'm able to do that. Absolutely insane. We one-shot that Vigoroth, and I somehow managed to come back and win that game despite the BS lag that we dealt with. So very fortunate for us there. KNO is up next with the Azumarill mirror match here. So whenever we have an Azumarill mirror match in the lead, I'm totally fine with it because I know that worst case scenario, I'm gonna tie or win because we have the Play Rough. I actually overfarm a little bit to see if he gets off the Play Rough at 6 bubbles. He did not, so I assumed he had Hydro Pump, which he does. Now I'm going to surprise him with the Play Rough. And he is either going to have to switch out here or give up switch advantage. So I'm just going for more Play Roughs here. Play Rough is going to win this matchup, of course. He switches out now into Altaria, and at this point I was debating maybe I should stay in, but I know Registeel's in the back, so he'll do really well. Now, I should make a disclaimer here. I have never used a Registeel before. This is my first time ever using Registeel, and it performs pretty well. I could see why it's so highly touted as the king of Great League. But the thing is, I don't really know how a lot of these matchups go because I've never really used one. Like, I mean, I know from facing it a lot, but using it's a different story. So I'm just going for the Flash Cannons here against the Altaria. And this will get rid of the Altaria here. Now he brings in Whiscash, and I'm actually able to get to a Flash Cannon before he could get off a charge move. Obviously, a Focus Blast would be better in this situation, but we get the shield anyway, so that's really good. He is going to farm down on us though, so he has a lot of energy stored, and it's a bit of a tricky spot here because I know he has a Azumarill in the back, which my Umbreon won't do great against, but could still put in some work. And I know my Azumarill in the back could easily handle that Azumarill of their own in the back. So I decide to come in with Umbreon. Just going to go for the foul plays here. And this Whiscash is I mean, his main purpose was for the Registeel. Since we got rid of that, it's not really too much of a concern anymore. But Umbreon is just as spammy as Whiscash is, so I'm okay with this situation. And we have two shields, so it's going to take a lot of lag for us to lose this matchup. I actually managed to switch into the Azumarill at the same time he did so that my Azumarill takes this hit. And now I know that the Play Rough is going to be able to KO here. He actually chooses to shield there, which was a little bit interesting. And here I'm going to use my first shield because I know I'll get to this Play Rough. I'll get rid of the Azumarill. We were fortunate to tank that Ice Beam that was for the Umbreon with this Azumarill, so we kept the shield. And now we have one more shield left. This match is pretty much done. I'm just going to let the Azumarill go down here because I know with the shield advantage, the Umbreon is going to be more than enough to win this. And as you can see, the timer is running out anyways, so the timeout strategy would have gave us the win regardless because we have more Pokemon. But this triple tank team putting in work, and I'm off to a 2-0 start into the next matchup here. And we are going to lead against the Deoxys. Okay, so Deoxys with Thunderbolt isn't a great situation. Sometimes I like to stay in this matchup just to see if they have Thunderbolt, because some people do run Rock Slide Psycho Boost. So I don't shield the first one just to see if they're going to try and bait me or if they're not running Thunderbolts at all. In this situation, they actually go for Rock Slide. Now that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have Thunderbolt, but when they switch out, I'm pretty positive that they do not have Thunderbolt. So he brings in the Registeel, and I'm okay taking one hit. I'm going to try to get off this Hydro Cannon or Hydro Pump here. And I'm okay with letting the Azumarill go down here because I have the Umbreon for that Deoxys in the back. And I was trying to bring in the Registeel to catch a Flash Cannon here, which I didn't catch, so I obviously have to shield it as a Focus Blast. And now I'm going to go for my own Focus Blast here. And the Registeel is going to shield. He switches up into the Deoxys again. So I know that this Deoxys likely doesn't have Thunderbolt, so the charge moves aren't going to be doing anything to me, and it's going to depend on its counter damage, which makes this matchup a bit more favorable for me than it normally would be. So I'm just going for the Flash Cannons here. I actually get rid of the Deoxys, which is really good. Registeel comes back in, and Flash Cannon will KO in this range, so I have to shield up. And I know they have no shield, so I overfarm a little bit. Go for the Focus Blast. And now let's see what they have in the back. They're an Azumarill of their own, so because I have a Flash Cannon ready to go here, we're going to see how I'm able to win this match, even though I have an unfavorable matchup with the Umbreon in the back. And the Azumarill did get rid of its energy. However, if it didn't, I would have got off that Flash Cannon anyways. So it goes both ways. And I have this Azumarill. This was probably a mistake coming in with it here because I thought I could beat it to a Play Rough, but I was not able to. So I'm making this matchup a bit more close than it should be. However, the Umbreon is full health, and you're going to see here that even though the Snarls are being resisted, Last Resort still does a decent chunk to Azumarill. And because I have such a big health advantage over the Azumarill, I'm going to end up winning this matchup, even if it has Play Rough. So I'll beat it to the next Last Resort, and that is going to give me the victory in this matchup. So we're actually 3-0 with this team, and I'm liking the results so far. So we move into match number 4 here, and we are going to be battling against Mr. Croc with a very questionable name there. And Azumarill versus Umbreon lead. So great matchup for us here, especially because we are running Play Rough. And this Azumarill is choosing to stay in here, so I do expect this to be a last resort. And it is. So we're going to go for the Play Rough here. And this is going to be doing some really nice damage to the Umbreon. But they choose to burn a shield, which I'm okay with. This is going to be another last resort. And I'm just going to keep building up for these Play Roughs. We've already burnt one shield. And because they know we're running play rough, it's even more surprising they're staying in this matchup, but they choose to burn their second shield. And at this point, I was a little bit curious as to what was going on. So I'm like, okay, let me shield because I need to make sure I win this lead matchup. Now he switches out into the Skarmory. So I'm going to go for Hydro Pump. Shields are down. And of course I could stay in this matchup, but it makes no sense when I have Registeel. Bring in the Registeel here. Was going to absolutely wall this Skarmory. And you know what? Registeel is actually really fun to use. It is a little bit expensive because you have to buy that second charge move, which is 100,000 Stardust. And the candy itself is pretty hard to get. I had to invest rare candy for this. But it performs really well. He brings in the Whiscash. Shields are down, so I could just go for the Focus Blast here, do a lot of damage to this Whiscash. And I have my Umbreon full health. And we have an Azumarill with about half health. And it has some energy still, I believe, on that Azumarill as well. So I'm going to let this Registeel go down here. There's no 0.2 shield. So bring in the Umbreon here. And we are going to get to these foul plays very quickly. So the Whiscash is going to throw the Mud Bombs. Those aren't doing anything to the Umbreon. Go for the foul play. Foul play is going to be doing a decent amount to the Whiscash. They actually switch out into their own Umbreon. And I should have went for Last Resort, obviously. But I end up going for the foul play. Either way, this game's in the bag. And the Umbreon's going to throw a Last Resort most likely here. It does. So the Azumarill comes back in. I just need to get to one Flash Cannon. This is pretty much... Or not Flash Cannon, sorry. Play Rough. And this will pretty much be the end of Umbreon. And that Whiscash in with pretty much no health. Our opponent backs out. And last matchup here against Ritsuru. Game number 5. We're currently 4-0. I haven't went 5-0 in a pretty long time, so I was pretty hyped up about this. I was trying a bunch of questionable teams before this set, so I did pretty poorly. This team, so far 4-0. It is a Thunderbolt Deoxys this time. So I'm just going to go for the Hydro Pump if I can avoid the Go Battle lag. Looks like I did get it off there without any counter damage, hopefully. The Hydro Pump does go through. And we weren't able to get to the Play Rough here. Now I could shield this and take switch advantage, however, I chose not to. Bring in the Umbreon, looking to farm down here. Was not able to. Snarl, although it generates energy very quickly, doesn't do a lot of damage even when it is super effective. So we lose a bunch of health. They bring in their own Umbreon. We go for the Last Resort here. And this is starting to be a little bit of a tricky spot for us. However, Registeel with 2 shields in the back could be almost anything. Assuming it's not like, you know, your fire types or like Whiscash. Even then, it's still pretty good with 2 shields.
Unless it's Toxicroak, that's game over.
What I'm deciding to do here is try to invest 0 shields into this Umbreon. Have my Registeel in the back with 2 shields. And if they have their own Registeel, I'm going to overfarm here in this matchup. So I tried to get off the Flash Cannon before a charge move comes in, was not able to, so we're going to take this foul play. And unfortunately I did click the charge move, so that's a little bit unfortunate. Wasn't able to farm up a bit more energy. But as you can see here, I have a slight energy lead over the opposing Registeel. We both have 2 shields. This is pretty crazy. So because I know he knows I have an energy lead, I go for the Flash Cannon, assuming he's going to shield. So we get the Flash Cannon bait. This is amazing for us. We're in a great position now. This is definitely going to be a Focus Blast. It is. So I shield. Now, we're charging up again, and I go for the Focus Blast. Now, it looks like I overcharged slightly there, and I didn't take that into consideration here. Because when we CMP tied, so I let this go through, which was a huge mistake thinking it was Flash Cannon.
Stupid flex attempt.
We end up losing that game. I could have probably won that with the extra shield. 4-1, good games. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like, commenting, and subscribing to the channel. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.